know what we call this in the United States? God's ketchup, right there.
I've never heard that before. I think he just made it up.
Is this how the other half lives all the time?
One of those things just never happened.
When somebody rips one, you know it, and it's not yours.
It was like Bugs Bunny when you like smelled the carrot soup.
That is the most random thing. What are you talking about?
It's impossible.
Kapung krak, Tony. Kapung krap. For being the best.
He's God native.
The best clapper of season 3. You
Thank
are
you very
just.
much. No one hears the clapex.
You
Doesn't
are
matter.
taking
they
the
don't,
torch.
No,
Will
but
you just
no one
please
hears
accept it.
No, but you talk about the clap, and there's nobody understands that there's a clap in front. You know what I'm saying? It starts after the clap.
Oh, right, but still.
All right.
It just you're starting things off.
We are
in the
here
best way.
February 22nd. Is it the 22nd of February already?
It's the
Lord.
23rd.
23rd of
Wow.
February, 2005, the year of our Lord. And we
2025.
are in, oh my God, 2025. What is going on, ladies and
Yeah.
gentlemen? We're in a little bit of a time warp here. We'll get into
Yes.
that.
Yes.
We'll get into what we got up to yesterday.
And the day before?
In Bangkok, Thailand. We're on a little trip from Manila. We're on a little weekend getaway.
We are at the Bangkok podcast studio with our friend Lorenzo, who hopefully is going to chime in every so often with some pronunciations.
It's not Lorenzo.
Oh, sorry. What's your name again? Kata.
Yeah.
Even cooler name.
Yeah.
Come on, Kata. So, Tony, I feel like many of us in the industry who've been watered down, beat up, wrung out, left to dry,
Keep going.
yes, forgotten about, unthanked, burnt, cut from a shift, no more overtime, payroll's not going to go through in our restaurant lives. I think many of us have gotten tired of the tasting menu.
Sure.
And as we were planning this trip, our wonderful producer, Colleen, had put together some really excellent suggestions for places to eat.
Reservations.
And
Right out.
reservations.
Like,
And
set it up.
Great job, Colleen, by the way. Great job. You. But I was a little bit, let's call it, unexcited.
To go to like a fancy meal first thing on the ground. Because you wanted a more casual kind of experience, I feel like.
I feel.
As did I. You're not alone in this.
But this is not exclusive to Thailand. This
Right.
has been my entire, it's like the collective experience of restaurants has led me to believe a couple, let's call them rules from the insider of what a restaurant experience is like. Let me start by saying tasting menus feel like a throwaway.
Throwaway. They don't feel like a throwaway to me. They just feel like an overly long.
Okay.
I don't want to be there for 3 hours.
I'm not saying that care and love isn't put into tasting menus. Of course they are. But I feel like the redundancy and the
What was the last tasting menu in the
constant-
States you went to?
Aquarello.
Aquarello.
That's that really nice, super fancy Italian restaurant for New Year's Eve in San Francisco.
Oh, okay, yeah. Well, New Year's, that's a different. I can understand that.
Yes. So, but like having worked in some restaurants, and listen, I'll be the first to admit you have much more tasting experience restaurant life than myself. I've always been an a la carte, even the sides were a la carte. I remember working in restaurants.
Oh, steakhouse style.
Yeah, when the sauces were a la carte, and everyone like would freak out about the fact that the sides were not included.
$5
now it's
pop.
no, now there's no sides included anywhere.
That's
right?
true. Yeah.
But I always felt like tasting menus were a way. Of course, number one, it's supposed to showcase like highlights of the menu. It's supposed to highlight a style of the chef and of the restaurant. But sometimes it felt like the team, when I've worked in those types of restaurants, was just going through the motions. And it was like a very precise, engineered experience and not...
What do you mean, engineered experience?
Like, all right, foie gras torchon coming up, and like everybody works on the torso, and it's like, all right, round 2, it's the poached prawn, and then it's just like it just feels like you're doing like the same thing 3 times for 3 seatings the same way, and I don't know if sometimes it felt like I was so robotic in my service, in the experience. Like I've done this tasting menu at Vetri.
It didn't feel special anymore, is what you're saying.
Menu at Volt. Yeah, and it felt like over time I was just a puppet walking around the dining room, spieling a dish, knowing exactly what was next. It didn't take any like thought. I knew what the mise en place was.
That sounds like a well-trained service staff to me.
It is.
And you're just a puppet doing exactly what you're supposed to do all the time. That sounds amazing. That sounds like the kitchen. Like, thank God.
I mean,
you're not riffing on you're not coming up with your own tasting menu along the way. You're not like deciding for the kitchen what they should be doing on the next course. That's where you start to feel like a Robotron when you're not calling the shots.
It's just, dude, it's like, okay, so like you love seafood. I'm going to hit you with this and that to start. Mm-hmm. And your specific, you know, me setting you up for your dinner includes a cocktail fork or whatever.
What we've experienced here is that, you know, we show up, we're like not really feeling or having a fancy tasting menu because we're usually at fancier spots, right?
Yeah. Tastings for sure are a product of a higher end dinner.
Sure.
You know?
Because you go there to experience something. So they're going to show you. But when we couldn't decide which way to go. Yeah. They're like, let's just show you everything. And it kind of became like halfway through the meal, I'm like, this is insane. I didn't know what I wanted when I got to this country. Yeah. I'm just trying to you're completely overwhelmed. You have 3 days to try to hit. How much food can you really pack into 3 days? A lot.
It's really it's a lot, but it's tough.
But it's hard.
When you were thinking of Thailand and Thai food, like what was your original expectation? Like, I feel like you eat Thai much more than I do. I have limited exposure. I used to eat Thai at this place.
There's a Thai place down the street from my house, so that's kind of like our lazy go-to every once in a while. But it's, you know, the only Thai spot within a while. Actually, one opened up a little bit further away.
So you now have 2 competing.
Now we got
Thais.
2 competing Thais. Yeah.
Now you'll be able to hopefully judge with
now I'm
keener
not.
eye.
Now neither of them are authentic enough for my taste.
Exactly.
I've been here for 48 hours.
Blala. Bala.
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 What does that mean?
It means fish sauce.
Fermented fish.
Bala.
Fish sauce is... I wrote it down here.
Oh, you did?
I have it in my notes. Plara.
Fish sauce is nampa.
Nampa. Oh, yeah. Nok mom. Oh, no, that's Vietnamese.
No, nampa.
Plara. Plara?
Yeah.
Bala.
Bala is fermented fish.
Okay.
Bala is fermented fish.
Nampa is fish sauce.
Okay.
Nampa.
So that is...
Nampa.
That is incorrect. Mr. Google got that one wrong.
Of course. Aren't you glad?
You just never know what you're going to get into until you're in the place.
What I'm trying to do is avoid a situation where any one of our listeners is Thai and is cursing us out on their drive to work. Aren't you glad for this? Aren't you glad for this? We needed a bullshit meter.
30 minutes to go.
Right in the room.
There's time. Yeah.
Right in the room. So anyway, but what's your go-to order? What's like
Pad Thai.
Pad Thai. Okay.
Yeah.
I've always been a drunken noodle guy, and because
I
like those
the
fat,
wider
yes,
fat. Yeah.
Yes.
I always want to deviate from Pad Thai,
classics?
but
Oh,
I
right,
just want it. It just
It's so
hits
good.
me perfect.
When I was a sommelier at the Borgata, there was a restaurant called Noodles of the World, and it was right in the middle of the pit of where people played craps.
Just in case you wanted like spaghetti and...
Well, so this was all things Asian noodles.
Oh, only Asian. Okay.
Only Asian. So they had pad thai and they had pho and they had lo mein and egg foo young and a bunch of dishes from all over the world. Kimchi. I mean, this place had a little bit of everything. Obviously, they were marketing to a certain late night gambler.
Sure.
But when I would show up, it was one of the only places that was open for daytime food. And I would always get the pad thai because I met one of the cooks in the back. There was like a shared cafeteria. And I'm like, where are you guys actually from? You know what I mean? Like, you're making all these different fruits from China and from Korea, but where are you guys from? He's like, oh, the chef's from Thailand. I'm like, oh, so should I get the pad thai? He's like, it's the best one on the. So I would get the pad thai all the time, and that thing has saved me from many a hungover, ridiculously on the edge service. So pad thai does have a special place in my
heart. I never really
heart.
saw you as a I never would have guessed pad thai be your thing.
Back then it was.
Okay.
Back then it was.
You just had so much you had to.
No, well, on my journey to not be a fat slob post sommelier life.
What kind of
I started cutting out
chicken
carbs
pad thai, shrimp pad thai?
I was usually either chicken or shrimp. Okay. Yes, pad thai.
I'm a chicken pad thai guy myself.
I mean, it's. And how do you say chicken? Gay? Guy. That's an easy one. What's
Got
up,
it.
guy?
Guy.
So coming here, there's of course I think one of my favorite parts about these trips is you really want to take in information, and you want to learn, and you want to come away with at least some basic foundational stuff.
I kind of throw myself into it. I try to plan, and we had a plan. Like we had a kind of a loose plan, a few reservations, but it's so big. You just want to leave yourself some room for whatever could happen.
Yes,
right?
yes. Well, before we move forward, are you a tasting menu guy? Have you been a tasting menu guy in your life?
I have.
Why not?
Well, I mean, I think long ago,
as a chef, especially
as a chef.
Yes.
As a chef, I was really grew to not like tasting menus whatsoever. It was just too long and too fussy.
Okay.
And I just didn't want to be there for that long. And I also just grew tired of having so many different flavors and wines. If I was having the wine pairing, it just seemed.
I never get the wine pairing.
And it just seemed. I'm thinking about this a lot since we had this conversation over dinner the other day.
Because we came to an epiphany.
We did come to an epiphany.
But let's set the stage for why we were so anti-tasting menu. That's what I'm hoping we can. So
I didn't like sitting there for so long.
Yes, one. So it takes
I was
a while.
hungry. I always felt like I was leaving hungry, but full
Hungrier?
at the same time.
Okay.
Unsatisfied.
Unsatisfied.
Right?
Ungruntled.
Unsatiated.
Disgruntled.
Yeah.
Okay. What else?
Usually you're drinking too much.
You're drinking too
Definitely
much.
one of them. Because even if you don't get the wine pairing, there's too much time in between the meals, and you're just kind of throwing it back.
Yeah.
And because sometimes there's just like nothing else to do in a way.
Yeah.
When you're waiting for these long times in between meals. So
yeah.
I started liking, I can't remember, but a few times we tried doing tasting menus where you'd have 3 courses at once. So you could have maybe 3 courses, but 3 small things come out at one time. I thought that was a good kind of bridging the gap.
That was a big Mina thing. Did he steal that from Charlie Palmer?
Oh, I don't know. It was all kind of, there's no stealing. It's all kind of going around at the same time,
Okay. They're stealing. Every single modern chef.
Stealing.
Every single modern chef has stolen Pierre Gagne's.
Just the fact that they think it's stealing at all is
or
kind of funny
Laurent
to me.
Poivre's plating. And now everybody's
don't
doing.
put out a book.
And
then don't put out a book. Don't
Redzepi's.
promote it as being something cool for the culinary world if you don't want people to emulate you.
Well, I'm not
like
saying
nobody like.
No, but I'm not saying Rene Redzepi is upset. Is that how you say his name? Is there a Denmark guy in here?
No.
I'm not saying that they don't want the emulation. I'm not saying Ferran Adria doesn't look in the mirror every time he just goes to a tasting menu and there's some sort of dust on the menu and he doesn't slowly float away from just the. I'm not saying that
There's probably a lot of dust that shouldn't be on the menu, and I imagine that gives them a little bit of what did I do?
That could be the case.
What
too.
Pandora's box did I unleash upon the world with the foams?
It's true. But all that said, it's like the tasting. Okay, so let's go back to tasting. The tasting menus. First off, the wine thing. I never get the pairings.
I like that recently. Like when we first started getting this idea, which we're talking about. We had a tasting menu at Leo in Bogota, and it was just a fantastic meal.
It was an incredible meal.
And part of it was that the ingredients were so different. It was truly like, I'm visiting this place.
A true tasting.
I need to experience all these different flavors, like Amazonian herbs and fat-ass ants.
Yep.
And all the stuff that you just
lemon ants.
don't have access to in the States. So it really felt like you were getting a good representation.
It was an exploration through your senses, which I think is what these things should be.
Yeah.
Not just let me show you how I can put.
It's like I can't decide what to have on the menu. Give me everything.
Candied ant, like I guess for me, a lot of
I think
American
you're
tasting.
kind of like it seems like it's a stretch sometimes.
Well, that's what I was gonna say.
Yeah.
A lot of American tasting menus ended up being, let me show you that I can combine flavors like burrata, dried anchovy, and marrow and make them taste good. It's like a challenge to show you.
Oh, you think?
Yeah, I got a lot of that in like the last 5 to 10 years of just like, I'm going to show you that I'm conventional and exciting by being unconventional. You know what I mean? Like as many weird flavors as I could put together, like tuna marrow and corn, you know, like it's just like this trying to show you.
Okay, I don't really get that because I
yeah.
just kind of stopped having the but.
You stopped having them altogether. So, and the tasting menu.
I got way more simpler in my dining once I got out of the kitchen I just wanted like wedge salad, steak. I needed to kind of wash all that from my system.
An oyster
all the fussy
too,
food.
a shrimp cocktail.
Yeah, whatever,
too.
all that stuff.
Yeah.
Steakhouse fare.
And so, so you needed to wash that away. And you're saying a lot of it has to do with long ticket, like the long dining experience. And for me, it was like, how much thicker can we make this gel of a sauce? Or,
the experimental
yeah,
part of it.
It was just...
Well, usually it's things that are, maybe there's a dish or two of a tasting menu that's not on the normal menu.
That's true.
Right?
That's also
but
true.
usually it's just, you can't really decide. It's a celebration of some sort. Let's just, have small servings of 6 things or whatever it may be.
It also sometimes is sad to me when there's like a ridiculously great dish and you got like a bite and a half of it.
Yeah. That's
That's
what I
sad,
wasn't
too.
really liking. It's like when I'm hungry, I'm hungry.
Yeah.
And that when you're just kind of eating it at an hors d'oeuvre party,
Yeah. Yeah.
you're not getting enough.
Yeah. I remember you often saying the food in a tasting should not be as more fun to cook than it is to eat.
Right.
And I often have felt in tastings that.
Yeah, it kind of starts to, when you're thinking about it too much as a cook or as a chef, the diner is just trying to have fun.
Yes.
They're just there. They're not there for the food necessarily. They're there to have a conversation with the person across the table.
Another point about tasting menus that have always annoyed the fuck out of me is that there has to be this like silence. Like we could be in the middle of a riveting conversation about life. You're about to tell me that I'm like the coolest guy you've ever met and how you can't live without me and you're so glad that we started these companies together. And then they go, psh,
got to tell you about the butter.
This is a smoked mackerel, and we lost that moment.
Yeah.
I was waiting for that moment my whole life.
Well, sometimes that's because the menu is like just says like smoked mackerel / lemon
then it
zest.
comes on a clothes hanger. So I understand.
Give me some details in those menus. I want the info.
You do.
Yeah.
Do you want like cooked like the whole thing?
'Cause I want to take it with
maybe
me.
it should come with a QR code.
No, you could just type it on a menu.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
Okay.
I shouldn't have to go to my phone just to see what the dish is about.
Yeah. Well, this is all to say that Colleen, we've been proven wrong. Thank you for setting up these tastings. I feel like the last couple dinners we've had, and you brought it up so succinctly, Tony. What did you say?
It's kind of like getting a table of contents for the cuisine, what you're trying to experience. So you come to a place.
Glossary of dishes.
Yeah, it's like a glossary of dishes you get to just try, in one sitting when you don't know which way to go.
Now look,
because we could have had 3 dinners here and been very happy, but still been wanting more.
I also guarantee you that if we would have gotten 3 dinners at 3 just like classic Thai restaurants and left to our own devices, I certainly would have gotten
way too much
lob.
Yeah.
Every time. I would have gotten pad thai every time. I would have gotten tom yum probably every time, and I would have just stuck to things that are the greatest hits instead of deviating from
trying to get into some different little
I do feel like we went to 2 great dinners, so for 2 great tastings. The first one we went to was called Wana Yook, right? Really cool, like kind of Zen colonial house, I would describe it as. You walk into this like little like back area and there's like all these like hanging plants, and you walk into what looks like an old colonial house. We sit down, there's an awesome som that comes over. We try a cool local beer. I might as well pull some of this information out as we're going. But we had a really cool beer to start, and then we had this incredible tasting that essentially ran the entire, like, I don't know enough about Thai food to even begin.
There was so
to
much.
Explain.
Yeah, I've forgotten most of it.
Yeah,
Thank God for cell phones.
Exactly.
Because by the fifth dish, I'd had so many different flavors and spice mixes, and like
it's overwhelming.
I'm overwhelmed right now. Just trying to remember like some of the dishes that I had.
Some of the
descriptions, you know.
I would say some of the most beautiful components about these tastings is that so many of these flavors, they range from like pockets of Indian flavors like galangal and turmeric, ginger, things you associate with like the Indo-China type of ingredient, and it goes all the way over to Vietnam and like Southeast Asia, and calamansi made it onto some tastings.
Really? I missed that.
Yesterday, they used calamansi for a specific dish.
Okay.
And you're getting green peppercorn, and it's like...
That was the hottest dish I've had. So there was... How many dishes were on that tasting menu?
Yesterday?
Yeah. No, the day before yesterday. The first meal we had when we got
First
here.
meal we had.
At Wana Yook.
Wana Yook. A beautiful amuse-bouche of like... Remember, it was like the chicken with the pomelo on that cracker.
Perfected. Yeah.
And then the crab. We had this beautiful puffy crab in what tasted like puffed corn, but it was like slightly curried. That was this one. Slightly curried with herbs. And then on the far left, it was this puffed rice with like fresh herbs.
Little flowers on it.
And the food here is beautiful. Yeah. And it's incredible.
I like how it was, and as we were coming up with this discussion about tasting menus and stuff.
Yes.
We were talking about how at Thomas Keller's restaurants, we would get the tasting menu. We're there because that's what you do when you have the occasion to go to a Thomas Keller restaurant.
Yeah.
But the food was so careful.
Yes.
And this food is bold, but still balanced.
It's the anti-Keller.
It really is.
It is aggressive, and it is incredibly opinionated, and there is not a flavor.
It's not just about perfect technique.
Taste.
There's some
like,
hardcore flavors going on there.
It's like 10 friends are at a fight, right? And you remember a punch from every single one of them. You know, instead of being at like the Ivy League library where everybody throws subtle jabs at each other, but you're not sure which one was just to make you laugh or was actually a dig at your family. You know what I mean? It's like that's the difference between the two adventures. And I really like a swift punch in the face.
Well, good to know.
So we had this really cool, like cured, it was almost like an amberjack or some sort of yellowtail.
And a really kind of that broth had some kick.
Citrusy.
Oil, citrusy broth.
Oh, right. And it had like a Szechuan peppercorn, remember?
There was a lot of that Szechuan pepper. Yeah.
From those flavors. Then we had this mackerel, remember, that was like on the grill. We've had stellar tastings and stellar food.
So we had Wana Yook, and then that was that. The prawns here are like lobsters.
Dude, the prawns
They're amazing.
Are a different level. How do you say prawn here? Gung.
Gung.
Gung menam.
Yeah, it's like river shrimp.
A river shrimp. Gung menang. Dude, the shrimp here, I get it. I get it. You guys really do shrimp so well. We actually today, Tony, we've had a range of shrimp from, so we've had shrimp from Wana Yook. It's almost like, it feels to me like shrimp is the prime porterhouse of New York for Bangkok. You know, it's and crab. Like shellfish.
Crab,
here.
we're going to get to the crab.
We're going to get to the crab.
Amazing crab
Boy,
experience.
are we. And then we had this beautiful Wagyu, remember, with, it was like a bitter, this was a smoked sardine mackerel kind of gel on the bottom. I took each sauce separately, and they were starkly different. They were incredibly different. And then finally, then this incredible squid rendition. They are so...
It had pineapple in it? Coconut milk and pineapple at the
Coconut
bottom?
milk and pineapple, yeah. Pineapple shoots. There's such technicians here in Thailand, specifically with squid. You mentioned this earlier.
How they score it so delicately. But so many thousands of times for each square inch of calamari. It's crazy.
So careful and it's so thoughtful. I love it. It's really inspiring. And the food has just been... It's been incredible.
Yeah.
I can't even begin to...
just scratch the surface.
Yeah, and let's not forget, we had this finale, if you'll remember, of like the duck egg that was cured and a chicken egg that was cured, then with like chives and shallots
that were kind of like fried up,
and fried egg whites that was all accompanied by 2 different kinds of rice, and then these incredible curries. From the left, we had that incredible... By the way, if you don't like cilantro, just please take Bangkok and Thailand off of your itinerary. I love it. It's been inspiring how little I use herbs and how much more I'd like to. By the way, I'm leaving Bangkok with... I can't wait to cook. I've been inspired.
We'll get to that. We'll see what your first dish is going to be when you get home.
And then we had these curries. This was like a red curry that was just...
What was that on the top? I forgot.
It looks like ginger shoots.
It wasn't, though. It was something else, yeah.
Dude, it's just a lot.
Right. And then we had the frog's legs. That was the spiciest dish we had with the green peppercorn bunches in there.
Oh, yeah.
That was great. Spicy as all get out.
The frog leg. Once I ate that, my body just went, nope, it's done. Delicious.
What do you mean?
Beautiful. It was just like, sir, you have reached your limit on spice.
Dude,
have one more bite and watch what happens.
Oh, I have reached my limit the next day at Samrub Samarub. Oh, well, I'm jumping ahead here a little bit.
This, ladies and gentlemen, I'm holding
around
a pocket Pepto. Chewables of bismuth subcyclate, subsalicite.
I notice you've only pulled those out now. You didn't offer me one yesterday.
Oh, you're a champion, Tony.
Yeah.
Your Italian German background has prepared you for this. My Basque Puerto Rican one,
not having it.
I'm just
the struggle.
My insides are not built for this. Now, I may have told you that as a child, my mom used to date a Mexican guy, and he told me if I wanted to show him the measure of the man I was, it was how much hot sauce I could take, how much heat I could take.
You're still trying.
That still lives with me. Of course it does. However, it's round 2. That is what I have to deal with.
Yes.
Not round 1. Just so you know. Wanted to make sure that...
just so I know.
Yes.
Just so all you know,
and then to cool off that incredibly spicy, beautiful frog leg curry, to cool off, there was like this broth, like a beef consommé,
and that little like bouquet of herbs and cucumber, which really
I
nice.
remember looking at and being like, you want to cool this off? You should bring over some sour cream, stat. And surprisingly, it
all worked.
It worked.
They know what they're doing.
They know what they're doing. And then we finished off with this beautiful dessert. Remember, it was like it tasted like a sesame paste ice cream lollipop. And this was...
It was nice. It wasn't too sweet and nice, small, like tiny desserts. There was probably like 4 bites of dessert.
Have been too
4
sweet.
to 6 bites of dessert. It was nice.
It was a fantastic meal and makes me... It was like, wow, tasting menus can be so incredible. And I think
especially when you're going to visit somewhere and you just want to like, show me what you got, country.
Yes. Fantastic. So then we go into our next tasting menu, which was the next day.
Well, first.
So first, Tony was feeling rather adventurous. So we left the hotel after, next morning. By the way, Tony has gone for a run every single day.
Every day.
If your 30-year-old chef self was watching you right now, I think he'd be pretty proud of you.
Oh, cool. Good,
he'd be pretty proud of you. So then we wake up and we decide you decided, hey, let's go check out this Michelin star lady. And I had no
It's
idea
like
what
a
you're
street
talking
food place. It's called
Jai-Fi.
Jai-Fi,
Jay,
which is her nickname, I suppose. And she cooks every single dish. It's on all the lists. I'm like, we might as well give it a shot. I'm sure there's going to be
yes.
a
And let's
line
talk
of
about the hype train for a minute.
gaijin there, huh?
Let's talk about the hype train. So I was 100% expecting to be and looking forward to being let down.
I was too. Well, we were in line for a long time, and it's for all the articles that are out there about this place and this woman, this chef who runs this restaurant. No one kind of tells you what to do when you get there.
That's true.
So we're going to let you know.
Yeah.
There's a table.
So first off, let's set the stage.
Okay.
You're in a pretty cool part of Bangkok that doesn't feel super. It's not part of like the area of town where we are, which is Satan Square.
I don't know. I just get on the Grab and go.
So yes, so we take this cab we take a Grab. They don't have Uber.
Yeah.
Grab is what you should use if you like to take one of
Uber.
these Uber. Yeah, and it takes us to the corner of this restaurant where there is this incredibly hot, smoky charcoal wok station set up, and you can see what looks like a street food restaurant that's on the corner.
It is a street food restaurant that's on the corner.
There's like plastic chairs, and it's chill, and it's outside, and it's fans flying, and it's like you can't wait to have a beer because it's not like so hot that it's unbearable like Austin in the summer, but it's a consistent, lingering, humid heat here.
It's hot in the sun, but it seems like this time of year there's been a lot of cloud cover.
Yes.
So it's like kind of a hazy heat.
So you get to the corner, and it's kind of pandemonium because there is, of course, an orchestrated and beautiful kitchen kind of dance happening on the corner, but it's kind of like roped off. There's a little show happening on the corner, and then the inside of the restaurant, which is probably about 30 seats, seems like a bodega. The setup is like a bodega, right? Like a taco bodega in Mexico, in New York City. And
bodega is like it's a convenience store. It's just like a restaurant.
Yeah, it's
There's three people in the kitchen, but one woman is doing all the cooking.
Yes, and there's a couple servers that are kind of directing traffic. So start with you. So there's a table. If you're looking directly at the restaurant and the woks are on the right-hand side, there's a table to the left, right next to the cannabis store. And that's where you make a line.
To get your number.
Correct.
And apparently when we showed up, a Canadian couple was thankfully there kind of helping us talking through what was going on.
What they had gathered.
They had stopped giving numbers out because the kitchen was on break, apparently, and then they started giving numbers out again.
This was around.
So you're just kind of waiting to see if you can get there.
And this is 100% walk-ins. So according to this couple, who were very nice, according to this couple, Nickel and I forget who else.
I can't remember.
They were super nice.
These,
I know. I think Elisa was his lady. I don't know if it was his wife. Anyway, they mentioned that most people will start queuing. I like how the Canadians say that. Will start queuing around 9 a.m.
What?
Yes, because the kitchen opens around 11:30, and then the first seating will happen then. And then throughout the day, there's this dance of wait in line, get a number. While you're in line, they will give you a menu. You can review the menu, and they'll actually take your order.
We actually didn't get a number. They just took our.
They just took our. Yeah.
They just took our. We were just happy enough to have our order taken. Then we were sure that we'd made the cut.
Yes.
Because we weren't sure when they were going to cut off service.
Right.
We weren't sure when they were going to have reached too many, or I don't know how late they're open. But they kind of must do some figuring and be like, okay, you're the last one. So once you are able to put in your order, you're like, you breathe a sigh of relief. We've already been waiting there for 2 hours.
Right. You already put your time in.
Like, should we stick around or should we go off on our way? But then we got to talking and,
it helped pass the time.
Sure.
And there's a show. I mean, so this lady, Jai-Fi. This lady, she looks like a superhero. She's dancing on the line. She's doing all these incredible movements.
She must be.
I think she's in her 70s or 80s, or I don't want to assume this woman's age, but she's older. Let's just say.
She wears these goggles.
And she wears these goggles, and she literally looks like a superhero,
Cooks
like a kitchen
every
superhero.
Dish. She finishes every dish, I should say.
I think
I'm
she
sure
cooks
she has some
every
prep.
single
There's
dish.
some girls there who are helping prep, but apparently she's handing it over because she's going to be retiring soon.
Yes.
So we were thankful. We just had to stick with it.
We had to stay. Yes, exactly. Once we heard that this legend of Bangkok street food, that she was going to be passing the reins to some apprentices over the next months or days or weeks or whatever, then it felt like appropriate to taste her food. But so you see her behind the line. She's got like a cape on. It's incredible. She's like moving back and forth. They're like replenishing her coals. She's got like one. I have a whole cool video that we'll share on Overseasoned YouTube channel. Just in case you guys didn't know, we record these and we post these on YouTube, so you can make fun of us as I pick my nose while we talk. But it was insane to watch what was going on. And then I actually got that while I was recording the video. I got a sense for why she wears the goggles, and it's like she's cooking over charcoal. They have a fan going in one direction to, like, I'm sure because otherwise it gets smoky as hell in there. And I could feel every time she added chilies into any one of the woks, which is or every dish probably. You could just feel the Scoville units like exploding throughout the entire dining room, and the waft of this was burning my eyes.
Really?
And I was like,
Did
I'm a good
like
15, 20 feet away.
Feel like being in the office in Bogota with the Gasta Cremonia going on?
Yeah, with the potato bombs.
Yeah.
Exactly. So
Cremonegio? How do they call it?
I don't know.
Tear gas.
I don't know. I'm glad that this is one of the vocabulary words you've taken away.
I want to know it's real, right?
From your Bogota experience, though. So there are classic dishes from this restaurant.
The go-to dish is a crab omelet, right?
That's most
what
famous
kind of
dish.
everybody gets. I'm like, I'm not really in the mood for an omelet per se, but like this is what you get it.
Yes.
So we got the crab omelet. We got 3 dishes.
Yes.
And the menu is 2 double-side pages.
Yes.
I'm thinking it's one cook back there. I'm thinking it's going to be 5 things.
Right.
It's not.
It's not.
And granted, there's just variations on a theme with a lot of things. There's rice dishes. There's some vegetable dishes. Mostly it's seafood and prawns. I didn't see any meat.
I don't remember.
It was prawn and seafood. That was your choice. You could have the dish with prawn or seafood.
Or crab, I believe, in some of the dishes.
In some of them, yeah.
Yes.
And the crab, these beautiful,
oh my gosh,
huge nuggets of sweet crab was amazing.
The crab in Thailand is otherworldly.
It's fantastic. So we get this omelet. It's a pound of crab.
Yes, it was
a pound of crab loosely held together with very fluffy egg.
It's
right?
honestly, it's like what I wish a crab cake was like.
Huh.
Like if a crab cake could just come to Bangkok and learn a lesson, it would be from
crab cakes that get too mixed up, right?
Yes.
I want chunks of crab in there.
This is like, okay, so listener, imagine this. Imagine you get delivered what looks like an egg burrito, right? Because it's just golden brown egg that is just like,
but it's like kind of whipped up or something.
They do some really interesting things with eggs here in Thailand. Like even going back to Wana Yook, that dish, that culmination main entree with all the incredible curries and the rice
and the whites that were kind of like flaky, so crispy, flaky.
They're like tempura flakes.
Yeah,
they're so crunchy and fluffy, and then they cure the egg yolks. And I love Bangkok. I just want to say it right now. This is the first time I'm saying it. It won't be the last time.
It is not the first time you're saying it.
On this podcast?
In this podcast, yes.
Okay.
But I've heard it a lot.
I love it here.
Over the past 2 days.
So this super thin, it's almost crepe-like.
It is.
The thinness, but it's a little crunchy.
It's just holding together the pieces of crab.
And inside is just, and you would think like an omelet, you might accidentally overcook the crab. It's sweet, delicate chunks. Like I'm talking.
I wanted to catch her cooking one behind there, but I kept missing it.
I think they hide it.
There's nowhere to hide.
After I record,
it's like an open kitchen with one woman cooking.
I know, but I was recording, and then I looked down in the middle of recording, and it says, "No photos, cameras prohibited." There's like a sign that says.
Good luck with that.
Yeah, I mean that's all anyone was doing was taking video. But dude, so 1 pound of jumbo lump crab meat that is just packed into this fluffy, crunchy, delicate egg crepe. It was fucking bomb.
It's really good.
It was bomb. Next dish, we had a seafood drunken noodle.
Right.
These beautiful fat rice noodles, peppers, chilies, carrots, squid. How do you say squid in Bangman? Bangmuk. Bangmuk. With some bangmuk in it. And it also had some prawns. The prawns
just kind of like sprinkled out throughout your life here.
Yeah. What's wrong with that, right? And then we also finished it off with a beautiful rice dish, which was prawns, black pepper, toasted garlic.
Covered in toasted garlic. Just covered in toasted garlic. It was so good.
It was so good. It was so
and
good.
The prawns, I mean, it was like an adolescent lobster.
Yes.
I mean, they're big, fat.
They are, yes. They're not messing around. They are not messing around. And then a fried egg on top of beautiful rice, and then thinly sliced cucumber and a ton of cilantro.
Yeah. And then on the side would be some chili fish sauce mixture of some sort.
Chili and fish sauce, and everybody loves to put sriracha. And one of the things I was a little bit nervous about was the spice levels and how much I'd be suffering as a result of not being able to stop, because the food is fucking delicious. The food is so good here. Come to Thailand, anyone. Just come.
Really good.
It's ridiculously good. And Thai people are so nice and good looking. And but they're just so like I feel a lot of hospitality, and there is a Buddhist Zen thing going on here that I don't know. We landed here, and my worries, stress, anxiety, it kind of just slowly washed away.
Oh, good.
And it's going to come back as soon as we get to Manila.
No doubt.
I guarantee it. But so, fantastic.
So
meal.
we waited 2.5 hours for that outstanding meal.
Outstanding.
And then we have 2 hours to go for our next meal, right? Because we got finished there. We're like, we had to eat again in 2 hours because we waited so long.
So what do?
We went to, so marijuana is legal here. So you can go, as long as you smoke inside the spot, there's a place right down the street. We got a coffee and a marijuana cigarette.
Yes.
And I had read that it's not that strong. So I'm like, all right, I'm not a big marijuana smoker. I'm like, well, I can't even remember the last time. But I'm like, oh, it'll just be a little bit just to make me hungry and I'll be good.
Yeah, it was just supposed to be like something to pass the time. And we got a coffee too.
Right.
Which, by the way, the coffee culture here is insane.
It's been fantastic, yeah.
Every corner has what feels like a barista and a coffee bar and single origin coffees.
The coffee we had this morning was like, I couldn't even, it was
gorgeous.
Yeah, but I can't even, there were so many different light flavors there. It tasted like smoking a shisha.
I've been incredibly impressed.
But like a blueberry shisha,
Like a blueberry shisha, yeah. So we went to, post Jai, is it J-Fi?
J-Fi.
Post
J-A-I. Oh, J-A-Y, I believe, F-A-I.
Yes. Post J-Fi, we went to a really cool coffee shop that had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, like 15 local single origin, single style coffees. So they had a national,
just a little shop, just like a tiny little shop,
like a 10-seater.
Yeah, if that. Was there more seats in the back?
Maybe. It was probably 10 seats total.
Right.
Yeah, like 4 little seats.
It was like a little counter. Like
a 6 top, a 2 and 2 tops. And they had coffees from Mae Hong Son and from Lampang and from Chiang Rai and from Chiang Mai. And They had wash processed, double anaerobics, honey processed. They had anaerobic hybrids and anaerobic natural process. Then they had stuff from Colombia. They had stuff from Panama, from Costa Rica, from Honduras, from Ethiopia, from El Salvador. Insane. This little coffee shop. And then they're like, you should have a coffee and then go next door and try some of the local ganj. So, of course, Tony wanted to be prepared, did a little reading, and he's like, yeah, it's supposed to be really light THC content. So we're like...
It's like illegal-ish. You have to smoke it in the place.
Yes.
Right? But they're everywhere.
So you were like, you know what? Let's do a little,
Because I'm stuffed.
I'm stuffed. Let's have a coffee.
Build up a little hunger. With the only reservation we could get at Samrub was at 5:30.
Right.
Because we were making reservations somewhat late, I guess.
So
and
we
they do like
finished-
2 seatings, maybe 3. Seems like 2 seatings a night
Yeah.
they probably do. So 5:30, you got to be there. That's when the whole meal starts for everyone.
So we go to this cannabis shop. We go upstairs. They had like, again, a plethora of tithings to choose from, and super cool guy. And we take a little, we buy one cigarette and go upstairs, take a couple puffs. And I'm pretty sensitive. Like, I like to puff, but I haven't smoked in like a month. And this was the first time, imbibing in a while. And I took a hit, and we probably smoked a third of this thing.
Yeah.
Because I think about 4 puffs in, I'm like, I'm pretty sure this is stronger than what we thought. And then we're like, let's go for a walk. It's hot out.
We had an hour. We had some time to get to the.
We had a
next
couple
restaurant.
hours. We had a couple hours before dinner. We just finished an
We
awesome
we wanted to work up
lunch.
an appetite.
And so we start walking, and we just start going through the streets of Bangkok. And
Hit me hard.
this
I didn't even know what
ganj-
was going on. At a certain point, I'm like, my legs are still moving, right? I think my legs are still moving. Keep walking. I had to sit down for a bit.
Whoa, did
We found some crazy markets, crazy food markets.
I had an existential crisis. I thought I was going to die
Yeah.
on the streets. I literally looked over at you at one point and wondered to myself, because you were like walking.
Yeah.
You were on a
I couldn't
mission.
stop. If I stop, I was going to like fall into some
So
kind of odd.
we're rocking and rolling through these tight little streets. There is just action everywhere, and I already have ADD. Now, when you add THC to this, my brain
You were just
was
you were
just fucking
You were
on
just speaking like gobbledygook for like a good half hour.
wildfire, dude. And I'm looking at dried squid stations, and
Dude,
then
we were going through one street, and when we just decided to deviate from the map because we're like, this looks way cooler down this alleyway.
absolutely allow the hey squirrel
Right.
to guide you.
And then I'm walking around. I turn around at one point, and I kind of lost you.
Yeah.
I was like, I
Gone.
couldn't even pull my phone. I couldn't even concentrate on I just
Yeah, you were just holding on for
just
bare
locked
life.
on my-
You're like
Yeah.
bare knuckling
Yeah.
it on the edge of a cliff, trying
and I
not
look
to like
over
pass out.
at you, and you're talking to this woman who's selling like scorpions
On a stick.
and centipedes and other kinds of crazy like massive bugs. Like when I say centipede, it was like 4 to 6 inches long, like
Dude.
sticking up on these sticks. I'm like, I don't know if that's real or not, but I'm just gonna go with it for a second. But I'm gonna turn around the other way and keep walking.
Dude, so there was a stand. This lady, she like made eyes with me, and it was like an interstellar connection. I just needed any human interaction so that my racing thoughts wouldn't take me to you're having a stroke, because this weed was insane. And we like locked eyes. This probably 50-year-old lady's like, you like bug? And I'm like, do I? Absolutely not. But I do like them when they're dead. Show me what you got. And she had,
It was probably like 6 different things,
dude, it was wild.
but they were massive. We're talking like huge centipede, scorpions. I don't even know how you eat that. Have you had scorpions on a stick? Is that just for the
Okay.
tourists to like scare them off?
No, but no, people actually do eat them.
They do. All right.
So, dude, it was mealworms with some sort of green pepper. It was what looks like roaches.
Oh yeah,
what looks
That's
like
what
crickets.
I centered on the roaches, and I'm like, I'm gonna turn around the other way.
And these scorpions are almost as big as the prawns. They're like, whew, check this out. Look, just to try and scrape back the memory of.
Yeah, well, I'm glad that it actually did happen.
It actually happened.
Yeah.
Yeah, it actually happened. So we're in the middle of an existential crisis, wondering. I literally was wondering if my Florida Blue Cross card would work if I stroked out in the middle of this alley.
You thought later to look at your little health app.
Oh,
and you
dude.
showed
So yeah, and
heart
it's
spikes.
the worst. The worst thing about keeping track of your sleep with this Fitbit is I'm like, you're fine, everything's okay. Take a deep breath. You're not gonna die. And then I'm like, I wonder what my heart rate is. And I looked over, and we had gone to the gym earlier that morning, and I did 17 incline at 3 miles an hour, and I sweat my ass off for like 30 minutes. So the highest I got there was 143 beats per minute. Walking just aimlessly through the market, through the streets of Bangkok, after this scorpion interaction, I look at my heart rate and it was 159.
Wow.
And I'm like, I'm going to die. I'm literally going to die.
So then I'm like, I need something sweet. I had to eat something.
Yes.
So
I think
bought
that
some
saved you.
I bought a couple bags of dried mangoes and some dried persimmons, which were amazing.
I think you gave me like a half of a piece of one mango.
I was trying to like, don't eat it all. I'm like,
eat it all. I was like, yo, can I have one? You're like, oh yeah. And I looked in the bag and there was like the crust of one remnant on the bottom of your mango bag.
so here I am trying to like build up an appetite, but shoving dried mangoes into my face and dried persimmons.
Dude, look,
But they were so good.
we stopped at a temple for a second because there was a moment where I think Tony realized that maybe his brain and his feet were not connected.
Not working properly.
You needed a second, right? So we're going to take this opportunity to allow our Thailand tale in Bangkok leave you here, because on the next episode of Overseasoned, we'll let you know exactly where we end up after we almost died from pot overdose.
Sounds good. Can't wait to hear it.
Okay.
Overseasoned Podcast was brought to you by Over Easy Office, outsource bookkeeping solution.